Maya's hands trembled as she stared at the blood coating her fingers. The metallic scent filled her nostrils, mixing with the expensive cologne that lingered in Min Jae's penthouse. 3 bodies lay scattered across the marble floor, their lifeless eyes staring at nothing. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't process how her life had spiraled into this nightmare in just 72 hours. Strong arms wrapped around her from behind, pulling her against a solid chest. Min Jae's breath was warm against her ear as he whispered in that low, dangerous voice that haunted her dreams. "You're mine now. No one touches what belongs to me." His accent made the word sound like a promise and a threat all at once. Maya wanted to pull away, to run, to scream, but her legs wouldn't move. She'd killed a man tonight, actually pulled the trigger and watched him fall. The weight of that reality pressed down on her chest like a boulder. "How did this happen?" she whispered, her voice breaking. "How did I become this person?" Min Jae turned her gently to face him, his dark eyes scanning her face with an intensity that made her heart race. Blood spattered his white shirt, but his hands were steady as they cupped her face. "You became the woman who would do anything to survive, the woman who would kill to protect what she loves." He pressed his forehead against hers. "You became mine. Welcome to African Korean Story Hub Besties. Kindly show encouragement by hitting the like and subscribe button. It would mean a lot to me." 72 hours earlier, Maya Thompson had been a different person entirely. The Seoul skyline glittered through the airplane window as Maya checked her watch for the 3rd time in 10 minutes. Her marketing conference started tomorrow, and all she wanted was to collapse in her hotel room with room service and Netflix. 2 weeks in South Korea for work sounded glamorous until you factored in the 14-hour flight and the fact that she'd been running on 3 hours of sleep. "Excuse me, miss." The flight attendant smiled warmly. "We'll be landing shortly. Please fasten your seatbelt." Maya nodded, her mind already racing through her presentation notes. This conference was supposed to be her big break, the chance to prove to her company that she deserved that promotion. She'd worked her tail off for 6 months, staying late, taking on extra projects, pushing herself to the limit. What she hadn't planned for was Daniel and Marcus. The 2 men from her office had made her life hell for the past 4 months. It started with lingering stares, then unwanted compliments, then texts that crossed every professional boundary. HR had done nothing. Her manager had told her to handle it and not make waves. So Maya had decided that 2 weeks in Seoul would be the perfect escape. Except when she'd boarded the plane in New York, she'd seen them, both of them, sitting 3 rows back, grinning at her like predators who'd cornered their prey. Now, as she grabbed her carry-on and made her way through Incheon Airport, Maya kept glancing over her shoulder. They were following her, not even try to hide it anymore. Daniel's blonde hair stood out in the crowd, and Marcus's tall frame loomed behind him. Her hotel was in Gangnam, the ritzy district she'd only seen in music videos. The taxi driver spoke limited English, but he understood Gangnam well enough. As the city lights blurred past, Maya pulled out her phone and called her best friend back home. "Sasha, they're here. Daniel and Marcus follow me Korea." "What?" Sasha's voice exploded through the speaker. "Maya, that's stalking. You need to call the police." "And tell them what?" "That 2 guys from my office are on the same business trip. They haven't actually done anything illegal yet." Maya's voice cracked. "I just need to get through these 2 weeks without any drama." But drama found her anyway. On her 2nd night in Seoul, Maya decided she needed to blow off steam. The conference had been exhausting, and her hotel room felt like a cage. She'd read about a famous nightclub in Gangnam, a place where expats and locals mixed, where the music pounded so loud you couldn't think. She wore her favorite black dress, the one that made her feel confident and powerful. Her dark skin glowed under the club's neon lights as she made her way to the bar. For the first time in months, Maya felt like herself. Free, anonymous, just another woman in a sea of dancers. The whiskey burned pleasantly as it slid down her throat. The bass vibrated through her body. She closed her eyes and let the music take over. Then she felt it, that prickling sensation on the back of her neck, the one that told her she was being watched. Maya turned and her heart dropped into her stomach. Daniel and Marcus stood 20 feet away, blocking the exit. They weren't even pretending anymore. Marcus raised his glass in a mock toast, his smile cold and calculating. Panic flooded her system. The club suddenly felt too small, too crowded, too dangerous. Maya pushed the dancers, heading toward the back of the venue. Maybe there was a rear exit. Maybe she could lose in the crowd. She found herself near the restrooms, trapped in a narrow corridor with black walls and dim lighting. Footsteps echoed behind her. Maya. Daniel's voice made her skin crawl. Don't be like that. We just want to talk. We flew all this way for you, Marcus added, his large frame blocking her escape route. The least you could do is have a drink with us. Maya's back at the wall. Her phone was in her purse. Her pepper spray was back at the hotel. Stupid. So stupid. Leave me alone, she said, trying to sound braver than she felt. I'm not interested. I've never been interested. That's not what your smile said at the office Christmas party, Daniel said, stepping closer. I was being polite. That's called basic human decency, not an invitation. Marcus laughed, but there was no humor in it. You know what your problem is, Maya? Daniel said, his voice taking on that condescending tone she hated. You think you're too good for guys like us. But here in Korea, nobody knows you. Nobody cares. Maya's eyes darted around, searching for help, for witnesses, for anything. The music pounded from the main floor, but this corridor was isolated. Her heart hammered against her ribs. Then she saw him. Through the crowd beyond the corridor, in the elevated VIP section separated by velvet ropes and imposing security, sat a man who made everyone else in club fade into background noise. He wore a sharp black suit that probably cost more than her monthly rent. His dark hair was styled back, revealing a face that could have been carved from marble. But it was his eyes that caught her attention. Cold, calculating, dangerous. Two men in suits flanked him, clearly bodyguards. The man was listening to someone speak, but his gaze swept across the club with the lazy confidence of someone who owned everything he surveyed. Maya didn't think. She just moved. She shoved past Marcus with a burst of adrenaline-fueled strength and ran toward the VIP section. The security guard started to block her path, but she was already past him, her heels clicking rapidly against the floor. Hey, you can't, the guard shouted. Maya didn't stop. She made it to the man's table in seconds, her breath coming in ragged gasps. Up close, he was even more intimidating. A thin scar traced his left eyebrow. His eyes were black as midnight, sharp enough to cut glass. I'm so sorry, Maya gasped, and before anyone could react, before her brain could catch up with her desperation, she cupped his face with both hands and kissed him. The world stopped. His lips were firm against hers. For a heartbeat, he was completely still, shocked. Then his hand came up to the back of her neck, holding her in place, and he kissed her back with controlled intensity that made her knees weak. It was meant to be fake, a desperate ploy, but the electricity that shot through her body was terrifyingly real. When she pulled back, his dark eyes studied her face with an expression she couldn't read. Chigia, he said, his voice low and smooth with a Korean accent that sent shivers down her spine. The word meant darling. She knew that much. You're late. He was playing along. Relief flooded through her so intensely she almost collapsed. One of his bodyguards leaned close and whispered something in Korean. The man's eyes flicked past Maya to where Daniel and Marcus stood frozen at the edge of the VIP section, their faces pale. I see, the man said softly. His expression didn't change, but something dark flickered in his eyes. Friends of yours. No, Maya whispered, still trying to catch her breath. They've been following me. I'm sorry. I didn't know what else to do. I'll leave. I just needed. His hand on her wrist stopped her words. His grip was gentle but firm. Sit, he commanded quietly. Maya sat. The man spoke in rapid Korean to his bodyguards. One of them immediately moved toward Daniel and Marcus. Maya watched as the two men who'd tormented her for months suddenly looked like scared children. The bodyguard said something that made all the color drain from Daniel's face. Within seconds, both men were being escorted out of the club by security. They won't bother you again, the man said, turning his attention back to Maya. He poured whiskey from an expensive bottle into a glass and slid it across the table to her. Drink. Maya's hand shook as she picked up the glass. The whiskey burned, but it helped steady her nerves. Thank you. I'm Maya. I don't know how to repay you for her. Kong Min-jae, he interrupted. And you just did something either very brave or very stupid. I haven't decided which yet. The way he said it made Maya's stomach flip. She suddenly realized she had no idea who this man was, only that he commanded respect and fear in equal measure. I should go, she said, starting to stand. Sit, Min Jae repeated, and this time it wasn't a suggestion. Maya sat back down, her pulse racing. One of the bodyguards returned and whispered something in Min Jae's ear. His expression darkened. It seems your friends were quite persistent. My men found them outside, waiting for you. Fear spiked through her. What did your men do? They explained the situation. Clearly, Min Jae's smile was cold. They won't be a problem anymore. Something in his tone made Maya's blood run cold. What does that mean? It means, Min Jae said, leaning forward, his eyes locked on hers, that you chose an interesting protector, Maya Thompson. Do you know who I am? The way he said her full name, when she'd only given her first, sent warning bells ringing. How do you know my last name? I know everything about everyone in my club. You're American, here for a marketing conference, staying at the Hyatt. You arrived 2 days ago, alone. Those men were Daniel Cooper and Marcus Wright, your co-workers who have been harassing you for 4 months. He took a sip of his drink, never breaking eye contact. Your HR department is useless, and you thought Korea would be your escape. Am I missing anything? Maya's mouth went dry. Who are you? Someone who doesn't like stalkers in his establishment. Bad for business. Min Jae signaled to his bodyguard. Seo Jun will take you back to your hotel. Use the VIP exit. You're under my protection now. I don't need. You kissed me in front of 300 people. Min Jae interrupted, his voice dropping to a dangerous purr. You made yourself mine in a very public way. Do you understand what that means in my world? Maya shook her head, confusion and fear warring inside her. It means anyone who touches you now has declared war on me. It means you're either the cleverest woman I've ever met, or you've made a very dangerous mistake. He stood, buttoning his jacket. Either way, you're interesting. And I haven't been interested in anything for a very long time. I should never have. But you did. Min Jae leaned down, his face inches from hers. Sleep well, Maya Thompson. We'll talk tomorrow. Before she could respond, Seo Jun gently took her arm and guided her toward a private exit. Maya looked back once and found Min Jae still watching her, his expression unreadable. The ride back to her hotel was silent. Seo Jun was professional but intimidating, never speaking unless spoken to. When they arrived, he walked her all the way to her room door. Mr. Kong will send a car for you tomorrow at noon. He said in perfect English, please be ready. What if I'm not? Maya challenged, exhaustion making her brave. Seo Jun's expression didn't change. Mr. Kong doesn't accept no for an answer. Good night, Miss Thompson. Maya locked her door and slumped against it, her mind reeling. What had she done? Who was Kong Min Jae? And why did the memory of his kiss still make her lips tingle? She grabbed her laptop and searched his name. What she found made her blood run cold. Kong Min Jae, age 32, business mogul on the surface. But rumors swirled about his real source of income. Underground casinos, protection rackets, connections to organized crime. Nothing proven, nothing stuck, but the whispers were consistent. He was dangerous, untouchable, and she just kissed him in front of hundreds of witnesses. Maya didn't sleep that night. Every shadow seemed threatening. Every sound made her jump. When her phone buzzed at 6 in the morning, she nearly screamed. Unknown number. Good morning, Jigia. Don't be late. MJ. Her hands trembled as she typed back. I have a conference to attend. The response came immediately. I've already handled it. You're taking a personal day. Car arrives at noon. We're something comfortable. Maya stared at her phone in disbelief. How did he have her number? How had he handled her conference attendance? This was insane. She should call the police. Call the embassy. Call someone. Instead, at 11:45, she found herself standing in front of her hotel in jeans and a silk blouse, her heart racing as a black Mercedes pulled up. Seo Jun held the door open without a word. Maya climbed in, telling herself she was only doing this to tell Min Jae to leave her alone, that she wasn't curious about the man who'd kissed her like he owned her soul, that the flutter in her stomach was fear, not anticipation. The car wound through Seoul streets, moving away from the tourist areas into districts Maya didn't recognize. Industrial buildings gave way to older neighborhoods. Then suddenly they were pulling up to a modern high-rise that gleamed like a knife blade against the sky. Mr. Kang's residence, Seo Jun announced. Top floor. I'm not going to his apartment, Maya protested. You kissed him, Seo Jun said simply, as if that explained everything. In Korea, that means something. In Mr. Kang's world, it means everything. The elevator ride to the penthouse felt like traveling to another planet. When the doors opened directly into the apartment, Maya's breath caught. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the entire city. The decor was minimalist and expensive, all clean lines and dark wood. Min Jae stood by the windows, still wearing black, but more casual now. Dark jeans and a fitted shirt that showed off his lean, muscular frame. He didn't turn around immediately. Do you know why I brought you here, Maya? To threaten me? To make demands? Her voice came out stronger than she felt. He turned, and his expression was almost amused. To feed you. You haven't eaten since yesterday afternoon. I can see it in your face. Maya blinked. Of all the things she'd expected, that wasn't one of them. I'm fine. You're lying. Come. He walked toward the dining area, where a spread of food waited. Korean dishes she didn't recognize mixed with Western options. I didn't know what you liked, so I ordered everything. This is insane, Maya said, but her stomach betrayed her with a loud growl. Min Jae's lips twitched into what might have been a smile. Sit. Eat. Then we'll talk about what happens next. Against her better judgment, Maya sat. The food was incredible. As she ate, Min Jae watched her with that intense focus that made her feel like a specimen under a microscope. Tell me about them, he finally said. The men from last night. Why? Because I want to know what drove you to kiss a stranger in a nightclub. That takes desperation or courage. I need to know which. Maya set down her chopsticks. They've been stalking me for months. HR won't help. My manager won't help. I thought coming to Korea would give me a break. Her voice cracked. Instead, they followed me here. Last night, I thought they were going to... She couldn't finish the sentence. Min Jae's expression darkened. Where are they now? I don't know. You're men. They're at Incheon Airport, Min Jae interrupted. On the next flight back to New York. They've been permanently banned from entering South Korea. My men were very persuasive about the consequences of returning. Relief and fear warred in Maya's chest. What did you do to them? Nothing they didn't deserve. Nothing permanent. Yet, he poured tea into her cup with surprising grace. But that's not the real problem, is it? What do you mean? You're supposed to be here for 2 more weeks. Your conference, your hotel. Everything is booked. But now you're afraid. Alone in a foreign country. Wondering if they'll come back. Wondering if you're safe. Min Jae's eyes never left hers. I'm offering you protection. In exchange for what? His smile was slow and predatory. Nothing you're not willing to give. Stay here in my home. Let my men watch over you. In return, you keep up appearances. When I go out, you come with me. When people ask who you are, you tell them you're mine. That's insane. I don't even know you. You knew me well enough to kiss me last night. Heat flooded Maya's face. That was different. That was survival. And this isn't. Min Jae leaned back in his chair. Maya, you walked into a world you don't understand. By kissing me, you made a statement. My enemies will see you as my weakness. My allies will wonder who you are to have captured my attention. Sending you back to your hotel alone is like painting a target on your back. You're saying I'm in danger because of you. I'm saying you were in danger already, and now you have the option of protection. From me. He stood and walked to the windows. I won't force you. If you want to leave, Seo Jun will take you anywhere you want to go. But those men will keep coming, Maya. Maybe not Daniel and Marcus, but men like them. Because you're beautiful alone and foreign. Because predators can smell vulnerability. Maya's hands clenched into fists. She hated that he was right. Hated that she felt safer in a criminal's penthouse than she did in her hotel. Why are you helping me? Min Jae was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was softer. My sister was stalked once. 3 years ago. I was too late to stop it. Too late to save her from what they did. He turned to face her, and for the first time, she saw real emotion in his eyes. Pain, rage, guilt. So, when I see a woman being hunted by predators, I remember, and I make sure the story ends differently. The raw honesty in his voice made Maya's chest tighten. What happened to your sister? She survived. Barely. But the woman she was before? She died that night. I made sure the men who hurt her died too. Slowly. There was no remorse in his voice, only cold satisfaction. Maya should have been horrified, should have run. But instead, she felt an unexpected surge of understanding. How long? She asked quietly. How long what? How long do I need to stay to keep up appearances? To make this convincing? Min Jae studied her face, something like respect flickering in his eyes. 2 weeks. Until your flight home. By then, everyone will know you're under my protection. When you leave Korea, you'll be safe. And while I'm here, what exactly does being yours entail? Nothing you don't want. You'll have your own room, your own space. But when we're in public, you play the role. You stay close. You let me touch you. You make it believable that Kang Min-jae has claimed someone. He moved closer and Maya's breath hitched. Can you do that, Maya? Can you pretend to be mine? The word pretend hung between them, and Maya knew they were both thinking about that kiss, about the electricity that had nothing to do with pretending. What if I can't? What if I'm a terrible actress? Min Jae's hand came up to cup her cheek, his thumb brushing her jaw with surprising gentleness. Then we'll have a problem. Because if my enemies think you're just playing a role, they'll test it. They'll try to take you. And then I'll have to kill them all, which is bad for business and worse for my already questionable reputation. His touch made her skin burn. Maya pulled back, needing distance to think clearly. I need rules. Boundaries. Name them. My own room with a lock. No unexpected touching when we're alone. You tell me the truth about who you are and what you do. And when 2 weeks are up, I leave. No strings. No consequences. No looking back. Min Jae considered this, his expression unreadable. Finally, he nodded, agreed, with one addition. What? You learn to defend yourself. My men will train you. Hand-to-hand combat, basic weapons, situational awareness. If something happens and I'm not there, you need to be able to protect yourself. Maya thought about Daniel and Marcus, about being cornered and helpless, about every time in her life she'd felt powerless. Deal! They shook hands, and the moment their palms touched, electricity shot up Maya's arm. From the slight widening of Min Jae's eyes, he felt it too. Your room is down the hall, he said, his voice rougher than before. First door on the right. Seo Jun will bring your things from the hotel. Dinner is at 7. We have a business meeting tonight. And you're coming with me. What kind of business? The kind where you smile, look beautiful, and don't ask questions. Can you do that? Maya lifted her chin. I spent 4 months dealing with corporate predators. I think I can handle one business meeting. Min Jae's smile was sharp. We'll see. The room he'd given her was stunning, bigger than her entire apartment back home, with his own bathroom done in marble and gold fixtures. Her suitcase was already there. Her clothes hung in the closet. The efficiency was unsettling. Maya was trying on outfits for dinner when a knock came at her door. Come in, she called, expecting Seo Jun. Instead, Min Jae entered and she froze. She was in her bra and jeans, having just taken off a dress that didn't feel right. His eyes traveled over her with an intensity that made her skin flush. You need something more formal, he said, his voice carefully neutral. And these? He held out a jewelry box. I can't accept. You can and you will. Tonight you're meeting some very dangerous people. They need to believe you're important to me. That means you wear my gifts. You wear my protection. He opened the box to reveal a diamond necklace that probably cost more than her car. Maya's hands trembled as she took it. Min Jae, I don't know if I can do this. He stepped closer, taking the necklace from her. Turn around. She did, feeling his warmth at her back as he fastened the diamonds around her neck. His fingers brushed her skin, and she shivered. There, he murmured, his breath warm against her ear. Perfect. Maya met his eyes in the mirror. For a moment, neither of them moved. The air between them crackled with tension. Then Min Jae stepped back, his professional mask sliding back into place. The black dress, the one with the slit, wear that. He left before she could respond. An hour later, Maya stood beside Min Jae as they entered a private room in one of Seoul's most exclusive restaurants. 5 men were already seated, all of them radiating power and menace. They looked at Maya with open curiosity and something darker. "Gentlemen," Min Jae said in English, his hand possessive on Maya's lower back. "This is Maya. She's under my protection. That means she's under all of our protection. Am I clear?" The men nodded, but their eyes remained calculating. One of them, older with gray streaking his hair, smiled. "You've never brought a woman to these meetings before? Min Jae. She must be special. She is." Min Jae pulled out Maya's chair himself before sitting beside her. Throughout dinner, he kept one hand on her thigh under the table, his thumb drawing absent circles that made it hard for her to concentrate. The men spoke in a mixture of Korean and English, discussing things Maya tried not to understand. Shipments, territories, people who become problems. She smiled when appropriate, stayed quiet, and tried to ignore the way her body responded to Min Jae's touch. Halfway through dinner, one of the men leaned forward, addressing Maya directly. "So, Maya, what do you think of Seoul?" "It's beautiful," she said carefully. "Very different from New York. And what does a beautiful American woman see in our Min Jae? Surely you have safer options back home." Maya felt Min Jae tense beside her. This was a test. She turned to look at the man who'd asked, channeling every ounce of confidence she possessed. Safe is boring. Min Jae is many things, but boring isn't one of them. The table erupted in laughter. The man who questioned her raised his glass. "Well said. I see why you like her. Min Jae. She is fire." Min Jae's hand tightened on her thigh. "She does," he agreed, his voice low and possessive. "Which is why anyone who touches that fire will burn." The threat was clear. The mood shifted, the men nodding their understanding. Maya had just become officially off limits. The car ride back to the penthouse was silent. Maya stared out the window, processing everything she'd witnessed. These men controlled Seoul's underworld, and she was now tangled up in it because of one desperate kiss. "You did well tonight," Min Jae said finally. "I lied to dangerous men and pretended to be something I'm not. That's not doing well, that's survival. In my world, do the same thing." He turned to face her. "You surprised me. I thought you'd be terrified." "I was terrified. I'm still terrified. But I learned a long time ago not to let men see my fear. It only makes them push harder." Something dark flickered across Min Jae's face. "Is that what your stalkers taught you?" "That's what every man in corporate America taught me. Daniel and Marcus were just more obvious about it." They arrived at the penthouse, and Maya headed straight for her room. She'd kicked off her heels and was reaching for the necklace clasp when Min Jae appeared in her doorway. "Let me," he said. "I've got it." "Maya," the way he said her name, made her stop. "Let me?" She turned her back to him, lifting her hair. His fingers were warm as they worked the clasp, and when the necklace came free, he didn't step away. His hands rested on her bare shoulders, his thumbs tracing her collarbones. "Do you know what tonight meant?" he asked quietly. "That I'm a very good liar? That you're mine now in the eyes of everyone who matters. There's no going back from this. Even after you leave Korea, there will be people who remember, who will wonder, who might use you to get to me." Maya turned to face him, anger and fear warring in her chest. "You said I'd be safe when I left. And you will be. I'll make sure of it. But safe and forgotten are different things." His hand came up to cup her face. "I'm sorry. I didn't think about the long-term implications when I agreed to this. Now you tell me? Now I'm giving you the chance to walk away. I'll put you on a plane tomorrow. Give you new identity documents. A new start. You'll never have to worry about Daniel and Marcus or anyone else. But you have to leave Korea. Leave tonight, actually, before anyone realizes you're gone." Maya stared at him, her mind racing. A new identity. A fresh start. It was tempting. But something made her hesitate. "What happens if I stay?" Min Jae's eyes darkened. "Then you're mine for real. Not just for show. Not just for 2 weeks. You become part of my world, with all the danger and darkness that entails." "That's not what we agreed." "I know, But things have changed. The way you handled yourself tonight, the way you fit into my world, the way you make me feel. He stopped abruptly, as if he'd said too much. The way I make you feel? Maya prompted, her heart racing. Min Jae's jaw clenched. Like I'm human again. Like I'm more than just violence and power. Like maybe there's something worth protecting beyond territory and profit. His thumb brushed her lower lip. You're dangerous, Maya Thompson. More dangerous than any rival gang. Because you make me want things I have no right to want. Maya's breath caught. She should step back, should maintain boundaries. Instead, she found herself leaning into his touch. What things? This. He kissed her, and it was nothing like the desperate kiss from the club. This was slow, thorough claiming. His hands tangled in her hair, pulling her closer. Maya's arms wrapped around his neck, and she kissed him back with equal intensity. When they finally broke apart, both breathless, Min Jae rested his forehead against hers. Tell me to stop, he whispered. Tell me this breaks your rules. It does, Maya admitted. We shouldn't. But you want to. It wasn't a question. Yes. The admission felt like jumping off a cliff. Min Jae pulled back, his eyes searching hers. Then make a choice. Leave tonight with your life unchanged, or stay and accept that everything has changed. That you're mine and I'm yours, and there's no pretending anymore. Maya's mind screamed at her to run, to take the smart option. But her heart, her body, every instinct she had was pulling her toward this dangerous man who looked at her like she was worth starting wars over. I need time. I need to think. You have until morning. But Maya, his expression turned serious. Know that if you stay, I will do everything in my power to keep you safe. But I can't promise you'll stay innocent. My world is dark and it will touch you. It already has. He left her alone with that warning ringing in her ears. Maya didn't sleep. She paced her room, weighing her options. A new identity meant leaving behind her career, her friends, everything she'd built. Staying meant diving deeper into a world of criminals and danger. But it also meant having someone powerful on her side. Having Min Jae. And that kiss. God, that kiss had awakened something in her she didn't know existed. A hunger for passion, for risk, for a man who saw her as an equal rather than a conquest. At 5 a.m, Maya made her decision. She dressed in workout clothes and found Min Jae already in his gym, shirtless, pounding a heavy bag with controlled fury. Sweat gleamed on his skin, highlighting the scars that crisscrossed his torso. Evidence of a violent life. I'm staying, Maya announced. Min Jae stopped mid-punch, his chest heaving. Why? Because I'm tired of running. Tired of being afraid. Tired of men making me feel powerless. She walked toward him. You said your man would train me to defend myself. Start now. Teach me. A slow smile spread across Min Jae's face, transforming him from intimidating to devastatingly attractive. You're sure? I'm terrified, but I'm sure. Good. Fear keeps you sharp. Overconfidence gets you killed. He grabbed boxing gloves and tossed them to her. Let's see what you can do. The next 3 days were brutal. Min Jae's men trained Maya in hand-to-hand combat, weapons handling, and situational awareness. She learned to throw punches that actually hurt, to escape holds, to spot threats before they materialized. Her body ached constantly, covered in bruises, but she felt stronger than she'd ever felt. Min Jae watched every training session with keen eyes, occasionally stepping in to correct her form. His hands on her body during training carried a different kind of tension now. They both felt it, the growing attraction that simmered between every interaction. At night, they had dinner together. Min Jae told her about his childhood, growing up poor in soul, watching his father get beaten by loan sharks, building his empire from nothing. Maya shared her own stories. Her family's disappointment when she chose marketing over medicine, her struggle to be taken seriously in corporate America, her fear that she'd never be more than the black girl from accounting. You're so much more than that, Min Jae said one night, his hand covering hers across the dinner table. You're fearless, brilliant. You walk into rooms full of dangerous men and make them respect you. Do you know how rare that is? I don't feel fearless. I feel like I'm barely holding it together. That's what courage is, being terrified and doing it anyway. Their relationship shifted from pretend to something real and undeniable. The touches lingered. The looks burned with intensity. On the sixth night, Maya found Min Jae on his balcony, staring at the city lights. She joined him, drawn by the pensive look on his face. "What are you thinking about?" she asked. "How I'm going to let you go in 8 days." Maya's heart clenched. "Maybe you don't have to." He turned to face her, his expression conflicted. "You don't belong in my world, Maya. You deserve safety, normalcy, a life where you don't have to look over your shoulder." "What if I don't want normal? What if I want this? Want you? You'll change your mind when you see what I really am, what I'm capable of." His voice was rough with emotion. "I've killed people, Maya. Not in self-defense. Not accidentally. I've ended lives because they threatened my business, my people, my territory. I'm not a good man." Maya moved closer, her hand reaching for his face. "You saved me. You protected me when no one else would. You're teaching me to be strong. That's not nothing. It's not enough to balance the scales. I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm asking you to let me choose." She kissed him softly. "Let me choose you." Min Jae's control snapped. He pulled her against him, kissing her with desperate intensity. They stumbled back into the penthouse, hands exploring, removing clothing with urgent need. That night, Maya learned what it meant to be claimed by Kong Min Jae, to be cherished and possessed in equal measure, to feel safe and reckless and alive in ways she'd never imagined. Afterward, wrapped in his arms, Maya traced the scars on his chest. "Tell me about this one," she whispered. "Knife fight. I was 19, trying to prove myself to the gang that controlled my neighborhood. I lost, but I survived. That's what matters. And this one, bullet, 3 years ago, the night I failed to save my sister. I took 3 rounds trying to reach her." His arm tightened around Maya. "Sometimes I think those bullets should have killed me, as punishment for being too late." "Don't say that." Maya kissed the scar over his heart. "You can't protect everyone. You're not a god. I'm something worse. I'm a monster who pretend to be a man. You're a man who's had to make impossible choices. There's a difference." She propped herself up on her elbow, looking down at him. "You could have let Daniel and Marcus hurt me. You could have ignored me in that club. But you didn't. That tells me everything about who you really are." Min Jae pulled her down for a slow, thorough kiss. "You're going to destroy me," he murmured against her lips. "Completely unmake everything I've built." "Good. Maybe you need to be destroyed. Maybe we both do." They spent the next 3 days in a blissful bubble. Min Jae took Maya to part of Seoul tourists never saw. Underground gambling halls where fortunes change hands. Hidden restaurants where gang leaders brokered deals. Midnight street races that made her heart race with fear and exhilaration. She met his inner circle. Seo Jun, who'd served Min Jae for 8 years. Jiwoo, the young hacker who managed her digital operations. Hyun Ki, the weapons specialist with dark sense of humor. They all treated Maya with respect, but she could see the concern in their eyes. She was a complication, a vulnerability. On the 9th day, everything changed. Maya was at the penthouse alone, Min Jae having gone to a meeting across the city. She was practicing the knife techniques Hyun Ki had taught her when the security alarm blared. Within seconds, Seo Jun burst through the door, his face grim. "We need to leave. Now." "What's wrong?" "Park Junho. He knows about you. He's coming for you." Maya's training kicked in. She grabbed the gun Min Jae had insisted she keep close, and followed Seo Jun toward the emergency exit. They made it to the stairwell before the first shots rang out. "Get down!" Seo Jun shouted, returning fire. 3 men in black tactical gear poured through the door. Seo Jun took down 2, but the third got past him. Maya didn't think. She raised her gun, remembered her training, and fired. The man dropped. Her second kill. Just like that. "Move." Seo Jun grabbed her arm, and they ran down the stairs. More gunfire echoed from above. How many men had Park sent? They burst out into an alley where a car waited. But as they approached, the driver slumped forward, dead. Blood covered the windshield. "Trap." Seo Jun breathed. He shoved Maya behind a dumpster just as more men appeared. Maya's phone buzzed. Min Jae's name flashed on the screen. "Where are you?" he demanded, his voice tight with fear. "Under attack. The penthouse." CO June's with me, but we're pinned down in the alley. I'm 5 minutes away. Stay alive, Jagia. Please, just stay alive. The line went dead. 5 minutes might as well have been 5 hours. CO June was exchanging fire with 4, maybe 5 attackers. He was good, but they were outnumbered. Then CO June grunted in pain and stumbled back, clutching his shoulder. Blood seeped between his fingers. I'm sorry, he gasped. I failed. Shut up. Maya grabbed the extra magazine from his belt. We're both getting out of this. Min Jae would kill me if I let you die. She blind fired around the corner, forcing the attackers to take cover. Her hands were steady, her breathing controlled. All the fear had crystallized into cold determination. One attacker tried to flank them. Maya waited until he was close, then stepped out and put 2 rounds center mass, just like Hyun-ki had taught her. The man fell. Nice shot. Seo Jun wheezed, trying to stay conscious. Save your strength. Maya kept firing, keeping the remaining men at bay. Her magazine ran empty. She slammed in the spare, her last one. Where was Min Jae? As if summoned by her desperation, the roar of an engine echoed through the alley. A black SUV slammed into the attacker's position, sending bodies flying. The door burst open and Min Jae emerged with a rifle, his face a mask of cold fury. He moved like violence personified. Every shot found its mark. Every movement was economical and lethal. Within 30 seconds, all the attackers were down. Min Jae swept the area with professional efficiency, then ran to Maya. Are you hurt? His hands patted her down, checking for injuries. I'm fine. Seo Jun needs a doctor. Ji-woo, get Seo Jun to Dr. Kim. Min Jae barked orders into his phone, while pulling Maya against him. I told you Park would test me. I told you this could happen. I know. I'm okay. I handled it. He pulled back to look at her, and she saw real fear in his eyes. You could have died. I could have lost you. But you didn't. I'm here. I'm alive. She kissed him hard. We're both alive. Min Jae's expression shifted from fear to rage. Park Joon-ho just declared war, and I'm going to end him for this. For threatening you. Min Jae. No. Listen to me, Maya. This is my world. This is what happens to men who threaten what's mine. Park dies. Tonight. And I need you to be okay with that. Maya thought about the men she killed today. About how easily the gun had fit in her hand. About how little remorse she felt for protecting herself and Seo Jun. Maybe Min Jae was right. Maybe she was already too deep in his world to climb back out. Then let's end it, she said quietly. What do you need me to do? Min Jae's eyes widened. You're not coming. It's too dangerous. Like staying behind was safe? I'm involved now, Min Jae. Fully. Park knows about me. Knows I matter to you. That makes me a target forever unless we eliminate the threat. So either take me with you or spend the rest of your life wondering if I'm safe. He stared at her for a long moment. Then, slowly, he nodded. You're right, but you stay by my side. You follow every order. And if things go wrong, they won't, because you're the best at what you do. And now you have me watching your back. Min Jae crushed his mouth to hers in a bruising kiss. When this is over, we're having a serious conversation about your self-preservation instincts. When this is over, you're taking me to bed and not letting me leave for a week. His laugh was dark and full of promise. Deal. Within the hour, Min Jae's entire operation mobilized. 15 men heavily armed, converging on Park Joon-ho's warehouse stronghold on the outskirts of Seoul. Maya wore a bulletproof vest and carried a gun that had saved her life earlier. Min Jae had tried one last time to convince her to stay behind, but she'd shut him down with a look. Remember, Min Jae said as they approached the warehouse, stay close to me. Don't be a hero. And if I tell you to run, you run. Understood? Understood. Now can we stop treating me like I'm fragile? I've killed 2 men today. I think I've earned a little credit. Ji-woo, riding the back seat, snorted. I like her, boss. She's got spine. She's insane, Min Jae muttered, but his hand found Maya's and squeezed. The assault was brutal and efficient. Min Jae's men breached the warehouse from 3 sides simultaneously. Gunfire erupted immediately. Maya stayed glued to Min Jae's back as they moved through the chaos, her heart pounding but her hands steady. They found Park Junho in a fortified office on the second floor. He wasn't alone. His right-hand man stood beside him. And to Maya's shock, Seo Jun sat tied to a chair, bloody but alive. Wait, Seo Jun was supposed to be with Dr. Kim. Unless, surprise, Seo Jun said, his voice cold. Did you really think I'd be loyal to you forever, Min Jae? Park offered me soul. All I had to do was deliver your woman. Maya felt Min Jae go rigid beside her. Betrayal. By his oldest friend. How long? Min Jae's voice was deadly calm. 6 months. Since you started going soft, caring about things beyond profit. You become weak, Min Jae. And weak leaders die. Seo Jun stood, revealing he'd never been truly restrained. He'd been bait. Park promised if I brought Maya to him, he'd torture her in front of you before killing you both. Seems fair after all the people you killed. Maya raised her gun, but Park's men had rifles trained on them. They were outgunned. Trapped. This was the end. Min Jae stepped in front of Maya, shielding her with his body. Let her go. This is between us. She's just an innocent woman who got caught up in my mess. She stopped being innocent when she killed 4 of my men today. Park said with a cruel smile, she's as guilty as you now, and she'll die screaming. Maya's mind raced. They had seconds before this turned into an execution. She thought about everything Min Jae had taught her, about reading situations, about finding weaknesses, and she saw it. The way Seo Jun's hand trembled slightly, the way his eyes kept darting to Min Jae was something that wasn't quite hatred. He's lying, Maya said loudly. Seo Jun doesn't want to betray you, Min Jae. Park has something on him. Something worth dying for. Seo Jun's expression flickered, just for a moment, but it was enough. His daughter. Maya continued, the pieces falling into place. You told me Seo Jun had a daughter. Park has her, doesn't he? Shut up. Seo Jun snarled, but his voice broke. Where is she? Maya addressed Park directly. What kind of man uses a child as leverage? Park's smile widened. A smart one. Loyalty is bought with the highest currency. Fear. Seo Jun fears for his daughter's life more than he values your death. That's good business. Min Jae's jaw clenched. Where's the girl, Park? Dead if anyone does anything stupid. I have men with her right now. 1 phone call, and she's gone. Maya's mind worked frantically. Then her phone buzzed in her pocket. She risked a glance. A text from Ji-woo. Found her. Ready on your signal. Ji-woo. The hacker. Of course. He'd been working in the background this whole time, tracking Park's communications, finding leverage. Maya caught Min Jae's eye and tilted her phone, so he could see. His expression didn't change, but she saw understanding flash in his eyes. What if we made you a better offer? Maya said, her voice steady. What's one child's life worth, Park? Can you really build an empire when everyone knows you target innocents? It makes people fear me. It makes people hate you. Hatred breeds rebellion. Fear breeds loyalty only until someone stronger comes along. Maya took a calculated risk and lowered her gun. Min Jae became the most powerful man in Seoul because people respect him, because he has lines he won't cross. You don't have that, which means your empire will crumble the second you show weakness. Park laughed, but there was uncertainty in his eyes. Maya had planted doubt. Signal Ji-woo, Min Jae said quietly. Now. Maya texted 1 word. Go. 10 seconds of silence. Then Park's phone rang. He answered, and the color drained from his face. How did you? He listened, his expression turning to rage. You're lying. Am I? Min Jae's smile was cold. My men have your entire operation mapped. Your warehouses. Your accounts. Your safe houses. And yes, Seo Jun's daughter. She's safe now, under my protection, which means Seo Jun's loyalty just shifted back to me. Seo Jun looked at Min Jae with desperate hope. Hannah? Is she really? Ji-woo has her. She's scared but unharmed. I promised you 8 years ago I'd always protect your family. Did you really think I'd break that promise? Tears streamed down Seo Jun's face. I'm sorry. God, Min Jae, I'm so sorry. They took her from school, so they'd kill her if I didn't cooperate. I know. and we'll talk about this later. Right now, we finish this. Min Jae turned to Park. Last chance. Surrender, leave Seoul, and you live. Stay, and I burn everything you built to the ground. Park's hand moved toward his gun. Time slowed. Maya saw the motion, raised her weapon, and fired. The bullet caught Park in the shoulder, spinning him around. Before his men could react, Min Jae's team burst through the windows, turning the office into a war zone. Maya and Min Jae dug behind a desk. Bullets shredded the air where they'd been standing. Min Jae returned fire with cold precision, each shot dropping one of Park's men. Seo Jun, despite his earlier betrayal, grabbed a fallen rifle and fought alongside them. The battle lasted 90 seconds. When the smoke cleared, Park's men were dead or dying. Park himself lay clutching his shoulder, his face twisted with pain and rage. "You can't kill me," he gasped. "I have allies. They'll come for you. Let them come." Min Jae stood over him, his gun pointed at Park's head. "Every one of your allies just received detailed evidence of your operations. Bank fraud, murder, human trafficking. They're more interested in saving themselves than avenging you." He glanced at Maya. "You should look away for this." But Maya didn't look away. She watched as Min Jae pulled the trigger, ending Park Joon-ho permanently. Because this was his world. Their world now. And she'd chosen to be part of it. The aftermath was chaos. Police sirens wailed in the distance, but Min Jae's connections ensured they'd arrive late enough to matter. Seo Jun wept as Ji-woo brought his daughter to the scene, the little girl running into her father's arms. Maya watched a reunion, understanding why Seo Jun had betrayed them. She'd probably have done the same. Min Jae pulled her aside, away from his men. "You saved my life back there. Saw what I missed about Seo Jun, shot Park before he could shoot me." His hands cupped her face. "You're incredible. Terrifying. Perfect. I'm covered in blood and probably going into shock," Maya said, her voice shaking now that the adrenaline was fading. "I killed people today, Min Jae. Multiple people. And I don't feel bad about it. What does that make me? Mine." He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. "It makes you mine. A survivor. A fighter. Someone who does what needs to be done to protect the people she loves." Maya's breath caught. "Love? We've only known each other for 11 days. I've known soldiers for years who I wouldn't trust with my life. But I trust you with everything. That's love, Maya. Knowing someone will stand beside you when the world is burning. Knowing they'll pull the trigger when necessary. Knowing they see the monster you are and choose you anyway. Then I love you too," Maya whispered. "Even though it's insane. Even though I should run. I love you." They stood together in the blood-soaked warehouse. Two broken people who'd found something whole in each other's arms. It wasn't fairy tale. It wasn't safe. But it was real and it was theirs. 3 days later, Maya stood at Incheon Airport with a choice to make. Her original flight was boarding. Min Jae stood beside her, his expression carefully neutral. "You can still leave," he said quietly. "Go back to your life. I'll make sure you're protected. You'll never have to worry about anyone again." Maya looked at the departure board, then back at Min Jae, at this man who'd taught her to be strong, who protected her, who'd shown her what it meant to be truly alive. "I'm not getting on that plane," she said. "Maya, I'm not getting on that plane because I already canceled my ticket, changed my visa to long term, quit my job remotely. I'm staying, Min Jae, not because I'm scared, not because I'm trapped, but because I choose this. I choose you. I choose us." The relief on his face was beautiful to witness. He pulled her against him, kissing her deeply in the middle of the busy airport. "You're going to be the death of me," he murmured against her lips. "Or the making of you. Either way, we're in this together." They left the airport hand in hand, walking into an uncertain but shared future. Maya Thompson had come to Seoul as an ordinary woman running from predators. She was leaving the airport as something else entirely. Kang Min Jae's partner. His equal. His forever. The city lights glittered ahead of them, full of danger and promise. And Maya had never felt more alive, more herself, more ready for whatever came next. Because she learned the most important lesson of all. Sometimes the most dangerous choice is also the right one. Sometimes love is worth the risk. And sometimes the person who saves you is the one you never expected to find. If you loved Maya and Min Jae's story, hit that subscribe button so you never miss another thrilling romance. Drop a comment below telling me which scene had you on the edge of your seat. And smash that like button if you want to see more dangerous love stories like this one. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the most dangerous kiss changes everything.